All right.
You guys are so fucking stupid.
Howdy ho, howdy hey. Welcome back to another episode of the Average Joe's Coffee Show. This week, the coffee's non-existent, and it's, beer. But whatever. What were you guys saying? Because now I want to know.
He said I couldn't read.
The face you made just now was like you and your brother are arguing, and your mom's trying to figure out what happened. You were like, he said I couldn't read.
He said we were stupid, and then I said he couldn't read.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway.
All right.
Introduce us.
I'll get there when I'm in due time.
You all know who I am.
Due time is now. They're back again, my good friends. Just Wes and B-Law.
What's up?
You know who I am.
Oh my God. You see, if I was sitting at home and I was listening and I heard some shit like that, I'd be
Next.
like, nah, fucking
Next.
skipped.
Yeah.
All right, here, let me try it again. Hello.
Oh, okay.
That
Real
was
fast
that was
before we get
inviting.
started.
That was nice.
It was warm and I
Yeah.
Good
kind of horny now. I mean,
Oh.
anyways, before we get started, no, it fucking deleted. Never mind. I was going to show you a video I just saw on Facebook that I think you guys needed to see.
You were
No,
going to
it
show
just-
a video on a podcast.
I was going to show you and have you
Oh,
react.
okay. All right, that makes sense.
I know what I'm
Okay,
doing.
reenact- yeah,
This is
compare-
episode 5. I know where
this
we're...
isn't his first rodeo.
This isn't...
Fifth.
This is my 5th.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Rodeo. You ever been to one?
No.
You're from Maryland.
Yeah.
Oh, my fucking...
Anyways, let's... Excuse me. Hop into it. Something that... we were talking about it earlier with sleep paralysis, kind of.
Oh, shit.
Something that's always kind of been interesting to me is, like, cryptids...
And morbid stuff.
What?
I mean, like...
Did you say morbid stuff?
Yeah.
Not exactly where I was going.
Like dead stuff?
No, that's macabre. But
You sounded so concerned. It was dead stuff.
I mean, like...
Well, morbid.
Morbidity?
We're not trying to go on a tangent, or I'm not trying to, but, it's kind of like going into the same thing as, like, cryptids. It's odd, it's weird. Some of it's actually kind of morbid. Kind of go, like, it's like
Dead.
a similar... No, that's macabre.
Oh.
Anyway.
Dead.
The fuck does morbid mean?
Morbid technically means disturbing or gross. It's like a fancier word for that. But
Not
like,
necessarily disturbing and gross. Not exactly what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the supernatural, out of the ordinary kind of thing. So anything from aliens to cryptids, which my favorite, because they're so contested, and in my opinion, a lot of them, it's not too far out there that there's a part of what I would call science that others would call magic. I think we talked about this 2 weeks ago.
Zoology is a science.
Thank you. Not exactly what I'm diving into yet,
Oh,
though.
okay.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
What I'm talking about is everyone's assuming, like, a good example, in my opinion, Bigfoot. Everyone either assumes it's a literal creature, like something that for some fucking weird reason we haven't caught yet, or it doesn't exist. What if it's one of those things that's like a more supernatural kind of thing? I could see your nose poking through that foam, and it's fucking me up a little bit. But it's what I mean is, like, you see those movies like The Water Horse.
Right.
You remember that movie?
That one was interesting, but
There's
like
only one at a time.
that
the
was
Netflix movie.
Yeah, that was like that was the
This was
freaking
before
hippocampus.
Netflix.
Like that was a kelpie. By the way, that water horse movie. Yeah, that was a kelpie. That child is dead now.
Oh,
anyway,
God. Okay.
anyway, like,
Not the point.
I mean, like, well, for like, so I was, so what got me into the freaking occult side of my family was
The cult?
the yeah the
Throw your arms up. Oh Jesus!
the esoteric part of my family was through cryptozoology that I learned from this little book on like how to be a wizard. And
Nice. I would like to know that. There's a lot of things I want to be. A wizard is one of them. An astronaut is another. Maybe like a dragon. I don't know.
can be anything with DMT.
Yeah, I can do anything. What's the rest of it?
I could do anything because the power of God and anime is on my side.
Oh, not exactly what I was.
Oh, not that one? Yeah, I can do anything through the power of DMT. Anyway, so what got me into magic at first was actually studying cryptids from this book about on becoming a wizard, and it had like a lot of stuff on your basic magical shit.
Is that more mythical creatures though?
For your cryptozoology type stuff, yeah. Bigfoot, on the other hand, that one is weird. That one's really weird.
Bigfoot's
especially
such
like
a-
some of the shit that I had to freaking like that I freaking actually like.
I thought you were about to say
encountered.
like you had to go like kill a Bigfoot or some shit.
Yeah, that was a rite of passage
it's
in
a
Oklahoma. Yeah, it's a rite of passage. You have to go
What do
out
they
and
have? I have
either
a
befriend or slay a Bigfoot. Usually,
with
it's
your tiger.
Yes, there were tigers involved.
You get a dose of meth, a tiger, and a
Big
bottle opener. You got to kill a Bigfoot.
Yeah. Since I was like a really huge nerd, I had this freaking probe needle, and I put it in a certain part, and I managed to freaking remotely control my tiger and fed it meth.
Oh,
And
I thought you were about. I thought you were about to say some shit along the lines of, "Yeah, I used to poke myself with it and see what happened." I was a little nervous.
we'll
there
get
for
to
a
that
second.
later. But anyway,
Whoa.
I'm kidding. Anyway,
No meth.
so for Bigfoot and stuff like that, there's actually like some weirder, like it actually goes into a weirder rabbit hole. One of the rabbit holes is giant three-toed Bigfoots, whereas most of them actually have like fucking.
Most of them. This is contradicting with the point I was trying to make.
No, you like
What
what you're
if-
saying is the magical type shit, right?
No, what I'm saying is maybe Bigfoot is fucking. Well, yeah.
What like
Who knows?
like
I don't know.
otherworldly? Is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's a race. I'm just saying like a water horse from the movie, not a fucking Kelpie from real life. There's only one at a time. That's the point I was trying to make.
So-
like the topic I was trying to touch.
For me, being never seen the water horse, is Bigfoot in the water horse?
No.
Okay.
Here, I'll look up a picture.
Water horse and Bigfoot.
It's-
Fucking no, dude.
what was that movie? Harry and the Hendersons. They don't.
Whoa.
They didn't do a.
Whoa.
They didn't do a
Whoa.
crossover film.
Dude, great. That's a show,
Most
right?
ambitious
It's a
crossover.
movie.
in
Harry and the
America.
Hendersons a show.
I don't know if it's a show.
Hendersons is a movie.
Oh,
I knew for a fact it was a movie.
It's a hilarious movie.
okay, whatever.
This is a water horse. This is
Yeah,
what
it
I was
looks-
talking about.
It's a fucking
The
country.
Chronicles of Narnia?
What? What are you looking at?
That's the first one.
No. Oh, well, maybe that's what that says.
Is that one of the new Netflix ones coming out? Did we all see that?
There's a new Narnia.
Dude, Narnia, yeah, Netflix coming out soon.
are they like
a lot of
Are
them,
they gonna
and
follow the?
Is it gonna be
books?
a show?
It's a TV show. It's Netflix, so yes, it's a TV
Well,
show.
Netflix has movies.
Yeah, they-
But
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
movies.
it's a show because there's multiple, and I'm assuming this is just me assuming that they're gonna be like 2 hours each episode. I would like to prefer.
God, that's a
yeah,
movie.
but there's like a lot of them, at least 5 that I saw that are based on the books. Yes, because it is called The Chronicles of Narnia, so it's gonna be off of the books.
Okay.
But yeah, it's coming out, and it's gonna be not anything to do with the movies. It's gonna be Netflix owned series, and you know how Netflix does owns that shit. So they're probably gonna destroy it.
They have
but
like ones.
anyway. Whatever, Water Horse. There's
Lately,
one at a
they've been
time.
pretty good.
You know.
That's what I was trying to make a point of. In the movie, if I remember right, because it's been years since I've seen it, but there's only one at a time, and it's an egg that the kid finds. What if the point I was trying to make? That's how big Bigfoot is.
Okay, so
What's that? What if that's how most cryptids is that we think of, like the Mothman? What if there's multiple, but
There
can only be one at a time?
There's only one Highlander.
Well,
that'd
that'd be fucking crazy. What if they were running around?
They were
dude?
the Highlanders.
Oh
just
my
fucking running around,
God.
just fucking killing each other.
Is
and
this
shit.
a whole lot of dumb
What
shit
if,
right now?
What if you just like walked into an alley and Bigfoot with this giant fucking
Fighting
claymore
another
just,
fucking Bigfoot.
Spring Heel Jack fighting off the Jersey Devil.
No,
and shit.
but I do have something to say about this. Now,
that Maryland doesn't have a cryptid?
it's because we killed them all. They wandered into Baltimore
murderers.
and died. Murder more.
They came to the wrong hood.
They went to West Baltimore and they died
From pollution.
So what I do want to say about this is now I'm gonna reference my history. So a Rob Schneider movie. There was I can't remember what it was called, but there's a movie where he gets in a car accident and they have to use
They have to use animal parts to
yeah,
fix
what
them.
it-
What
what
was
is it
that
called?
movie called? Hold on, I gotta look at it. I know what movie you're talking
Yeah.
about.
So while he's looking it up or whatever, I'll explain to you my point of view from this Rob Schneider movie that gave me this point. So when he gets remade into, he looks like a human. He just has animal parts. The doctor, whatever, who did it,
There's a
provided
clip from
him
it.
with the basic needs of life. One of them being sexual.
The animal.
Rob
Schneider,
the animal.
the animal.
Yeah. And one of the basic needs of any living person is the sexual need. And it was a joke, obviously. He was like sexual need, and then there's like this chimp running around that he showed Rob Schneider, if he, needed help or anything with that part of his life. But if there's just one Sasquatch or water horse, who were they, booming with?
People.
Whoa!
That'd be wild, right?
Parthenogenesis is a thing.
Oh, Shaq.
What did you say?
Whoa, Shaq's part Sasquatch. Makes sense now.
Parthenogenesis.
Yeah, explain that because I don't know what that means.
Okay, so parthenogenesis is...
Hold on. You just sounded so disappointed that we didn't have any idea. Okay, well, so parthenogenesis is...
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. But that was a valid point.
That Shaq might be part
No,
Bigfoot?
no.
I was like, what?
The Rob Schneider movie and the
But
basic
that's-
needs of life.
Because I want to hear what parthenogenesis is, but that's kind of like where... How do we know that's not how supernatural things work? Like, they just don't have to fuck.
That's impossible.
Are you supernatural? Are you part Bigfoot? Do you know?
I'm just saying. Like,
You got pretty
what's
small
that-
feet to be a Bigfoot.
What's that, asexual or whatever, where they, like, do themselves?
Asexual reproduction? Yeah, that's
they-
parthenogenesis.
Oh, boom.
Well,
why couldn't you just
why didn't
say
you just
that?
say asexual?
It didn't come to my mind.
Okay, fair enough. There's a lot of things like that that happen to me.
Okay.
Why didn't you
Wait,
say this?
parthenogenesis
I
happens to
don't
you?
know. Hey, man.
No, Just West, explain this. Like, your take on this from...
All right, so
asexual
yeah, parthenogenesis is just a synonym for asexual reproduction.
Okay.
It is where the freaking organism just gives birth to another organism, or
It just kind of
bird.
appears?
It's like it's not a clone, but it's like its own freaking thing with varied genes. And
Does
like,
it sleep with itself first?
No, it produces a sperm and an egg, and those two gametes freaking
Just naturally.
yeah, and then it impregnates itself using those same cells because it has the ability to actually produce those cells.
There's examples of that. And
Took my theory off the board.
frogs.
Got me.
What?
Frogs.
Frogs? Frogs do that?
Yeah, frogs.
What?
Yeah,
Frogs.
frogs. Well, it's
Frogs.
different. Well,
Yes.
it's different. Like sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like frogs, they do that freaking thing where they can actually change their freaking
Salmon
sex.
do that, don't they? Salmon?
Salmon.
Solomon?
I think salmon it takes them a while. It's kind of like grasshoppers where it takes them a while to actually pick or whatever they do, freaking what sex they're actually gonna be.
Humans too.
Apparently, fucking lately. Yeah, that's getting off topic. Yeah. We'll have to save that for another week. No, man, I just like how there's no way that any of us could really know what happens in the supernatural world if we don't really. Nobody's putting science forth or resources forth to try to attack this kind of subject. They're just putting them forth to disprove
it's like
it.
what we were talking about with that Avatar, that freaking show. We were talking about like the names of all the freaking animals and shit.
Not the blue.
It's like
people.
we're not. It's like nobody's gonna believe that a platypus bear exists, or a freaking man bear
Turtle
pig.
duck. Yeah. What did you say?
Man bear pig.
Man bear pig.
Nobody's actually not everybody nobody's gonna believe that oh man, I saw a freaking platypus bear out by the freaking forest and it looked like it was about to fucking kill me or some shit.
If somebody said that to me, I'm like, bitch, why don't you go ahead and get the pond? Because you're being a silly
We're
goose.
gonna arrange a spinal tap for you.
What if they said it was an asexual platypus bear?
My first question would be like, how the fuck do you know?
No,
and
but
why do you know?
We're jumping off, but I want to, come out and fucking ask the question: do you believe in Bigfoot? I'm gonna answer mine. Fuck. Well, you guys answer first. I gotta think about mine.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, there it is.
Yes, just straight up yes.
Yes.
Well, what's your reasoning behind it?
Because they exists. But freaking.
All right. Indisputable.
I've seen enough weird shit not to believe in the idea that Bigfoot exists, or even to believe that Bigfoot actually fucking exists. And that one actually correlates into seeing fucking three-toed Bigfoot freaking shits.
What's your deal with the three-toed?
So this is a weird fucking subject. So, my teacher in the occult. So he's a hunter, and my teacher in magic.
Just a
my
hunter
magic
of
teacher.
regular game.
Yeah.
Oh, I was about to say, if he's like, the show Supernatural Hunter, I want to meet this motherfucker. Arms thrown and everything.
I'm glad you guys can't see us.
Oh no,
Here pretty soon, I'm gonna get a fucking video camera, and we're gonna.
You're just gonna watch a little law dog just do his thing.
Lean back in the chair and everything.
Whoa. Anyway,
Every time he says a call, I throw my hands up repeatedly.
I don't know why.
Because it's ridiculous.
But
I
anyway,
don't think so.
We gotta continue. So yes from him. Benny, where are you at?
I don't not believe in it, if that makes sense. It's not something I'm actively like, yeah, Bigfoot's 100% real. Because there's not a whole lot of evidence other than like footprints and stuff like that that can be easily faked. What are you saying? But, being from Texas, there's been times at nights, because obviously we have the chupacabra. Being from Texas, you hear some weird shit at night. And I wouldn't put it past the environment for there to be something that I didn't know about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Oklahoma,
the
meth heads make it really confusing.
We discover so many things in, the scientific world. Excuse me, all the goodness. Excuse me.
Loch Ness? Is that what you
No, goodness.
Oh, okay.
We discover so many things in the scientific world all the time that it's not impossible to find a couple of fucking cryptids. There's little evidence, but there's, it's there. It's not enough for me to be like, yes, Bigfoot, real. I'm skeptical.
Yeah. So
What do you think? He's an alien?
No.
Giorgio Tsoukalos.
I wouldn't give him the privilege. My bad. I'm firmly on the existed, extinct now.
Oh yeah.
Outlook on this. Like, there's been so many. There's been so
Watch
many
it.
recollections or sightings and stuff back in the day, and it's in so many histories and religion stuff. Like, I know I always talk about Native Americans, but that was like a culture untouched for so many years till it was. And, you know, even though ours was, you know, or like the European and stuff, but they had crusades and Egypt and all that nonsense. But in their history, what's up?
Where are you going?
But, you know, the Native Americans were like, hey, it existed or it exists now. But I'm not saying, I'm 100% that it doesn't exist anymore, but that it had existed.
The freaking Seminoles, the Seminole tribe actually has the wildest fucking stories about Bigfoot. Like,
All right.
Sasquatch is a Native American name, right?
Is it?
I think so.
It is. It
Okay.
is.
I'll take you for
But
it.
like the Seminoles
You
back
guys
in
didn't.
like Florida, like I think they were fighting off the freaking Spanish, and they called them the Grassmen, and they had like freaking whole bunch of like just like whatever freaking tribes or bands of the freaking Grassmen were like they freaking banded together with the Seminoles and were fighting the Spanish alongside the freaking Bigfeets or Bigfoots.
The big
That
feet.
is correct because Florida
Biggest
was not
footus.
owned by the British when we landed. Florida was owned by Spain.
What?
Just saying.
Why did you have to clarify that? That was a
Just-
pretty obvious point.
Just making sure.
Hey, don't do that anymore.
Hey,
Thank you. You didn't know Sasquatch was Native American?
I mean, there's
don't
a
care
Yeti.
that much. There's Yeti. There's the
Yeah,
Yahweh,
True.
which
Yeah.
is Aborigines.
What is the Yahweh?
It's in Australia.
Oh,
It's
there you go.
the Australian version of the Bigfoot, kind of.
Just like the Megalemia.
The what?
The Megalemia.
Let me. You just changed it.
In
No, no,
depth.
no.
You got to get a
Yes.
little more in depth.
It is a extinct, gigantic Australian version of the Komodo dragon.
That fucking thing.
I like that.
It gives me nightmares. You said that yesterday. You brought that up yesterday,
Yeah.
and I legit like dreamt of it, and it was terrifying.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Was it
fucked me up a
cool?
little bit. No, it was fucking scary.
How does that make you feel?
This isn't a therapy session. And it's not just Bigfoot that I think of this of, because what this map has got all kinds. Wampus. No, that's not a good one. What's Momo? Where's that at? I can't see.
See, I'm a huge believer of the you'll
Momso,
see it
I
in the
think.
news before it
Mothman.
is proven, I guess. Boy, because like Discovery has all these shows and history has all
Yeah.
these shows searching for the Bigfoot out in the woods, hear this noise, that noise. Oh, it could have been this, could have been that. But if
stupid.
Huh?
what?
Like for histories, like the latest one they see, like they have for like cryptid hunters was really fucking stupid.
Yeah, not even just the latest ones, like the beginning ones when it all happened. They're all fucking stupid. And I'm a firm believer of that. Oh, I'll see it in the news first when it happens. But then one day in 2015, it happened. It was in the news.
The Bigfoot was.
The Bigfoot was in the news. Discovered this guy had it, whatever.
Wasn't it
Now,
a hoax though?
3 days later, it
Yeah, it
came
was
out
like
to be
a-
a hoax. But for those 3 days,
100%.
100%, Bigfoot's
Like,
fucking
Bigfoot's
real.
real.
This is it.
You know, I mean, it's kind of like the aliens deal though. For the longest time, there's a lot of people that were like, "There's no fucking way."
they're fucking real, dude.
That's the way a lot of people think. But there's also like those hardcore Christians, especially.
Dude, what about the ghosts?
Can I fucking
Sorry.
finish?
Let him
I'll
finish.
get there.
I'll finish.
Uh,
I want to hear this.
a lot of people for the longest time were like, "There's no way. There's no chance that aliens exist," right? Especially like those hardcore religious people. They were a big part of that percentage. And then recently the Pentagon came out with videos and they're like, "Hey, yeah, you know, they might be there. Aliens exist." And a lot of those people switch sides. They're like, "Well, shit, if the government's saying it, it's probably real." You know what I'm saying? So
I hope there's not people like that. Just like, oh, the government said it. It's real.
you know there are people.
You might want to smartly put your hope in places, 'cause those people exist,
Elsewhere.
and they are very dumb. No offense. I mean,
No
a lot
offense
of
to the people that really trust in our government, but I mean, obviously we probably should. But the point is, like, they take other people's words for it. So for so long, what's to keep people from not believing in what else is up here? Mothman or the skunk ape,
The Jersey Devil.
or the Jersey Devil.
The Pugwudgie.
That's right there.
Yeah.
I think that's what that is.
The 25.
The Pope
Pugwudgie.
Lake Monster.
What's this paddler down here, bottom left? Paddler.
Lake
Mostler?
something in Idaho.
Here, let me see it real quick. Let me check it.
Oh, it was made. It's a bunch of big potato.
Like, I think that actually says Lake Monster, but it also looks like an H is like Lake Monster.
Can
It
we
looks
get a
like-
side tab with some images, maybe?
Let's
Hoax
see.
images or something? Anything at all?
What are we looking at? The paddler?
Yeah, because this one looks really cool. It's like a cross between a alligator / crocodile with Loch Ness.
Oh.
Paddlers.
Typing over the microphone is not the easiest thing.
Where you type like a grandma.
You type like a grandma.
My take
The
was
diversity
pretty bad
in
on
these
that.
fucking images is
Yeah.
outstanding.
One looks like a giant snake.
Yeah.
That's really fat.
That says it's Japan under the bottom, so
Where? Oh,
yeah.
spooky
so.
Japan.
Can we space Idaho on this maybe? In millennial type, please.
I use multiple fingers. Right? It's not.
Yeah, they're not. Really giving us
There's a
much.
picture of the Loch
Hey,
Ness.
we tried.
but
We tried.
Charlie, is that another name for it? Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyways.
I don't even remember the point we were making. I don't know. If the government came out tomorrow, and said Mothman's real, here's footage, a lot of people would be like, well, Mothman's real. That's it.
Yeah. Well, especially with the
Do you believe in
UFO
Mothman?
F-18. Benny, no. The only thing real is aliens.
Mothman.
Ghosts ain't real. All this other stuff ain't real.
Whoa.
Me personally, my personal opinion. But anyway, like the video the Pentagon came out with the F-18 and the aliens and stuff that he keeps referring to. Benny and I watched that 2
months
weeks
ago.
Yeah, it was probably like a month or something
It had to
before
have been
even
a while before that.
At the most a month, but
And both of us were like, well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's reasonable. Aliens are there.
when we read the article, we were like, kids on Christmas, let's go. And then we played it and we're like, we watched this
is nothing
fucking
new.
last month. Like, what?
There's so many things that kind of tie into this topic. That's why I like it so much, because you could do multiple podcasts over this. But to hop off the Bigfoot thing for a little while and kind of attack something else we have but didn't have Harmon here for in the past is
Stories or
well, not necessarily stories,
Encounters?
but kind of encounters,
mini horror stories.
and
what I think we called it.
experiences
Yeah.
with the 100%, the supernatural. I can't stop
Yeah,
burping, man.
yeah, it's all good.
Like I was just telling him while you were washing your hands, staying clean.
Corona.
A couple weeks ago, we attacked. Ew, is that your pube?
No, it's just
It's
why that's the
Snow
guest
White
mic.
and sticky. It's probably his.
Oh, yikes!
the gray bush strikes again.
That's why that's the guest mic and this is the host mic. No,
It was Da Vinci's pubes.
back to the topic. The supernatural can't be that far out of our grasp. I was telling you the other day, scientists have 100% confirmed the existence of multiple dimensions. Mathematically. Scientifically.
leaving this one to Just West. I'm out. I don't believe in any such sorts of things. Yes, I've had weird encounters. You all have heard my 2 little experiences that weren't that big, that I guess I consider of the supernatural sort, but when it comes down to it, it ain't real. Gotta see it to believe it from me. But Just West, I'm sure, has other takes on this.
We're going to save stories for another time, but what's your take on the supernatural when it pertains to ghosts, Just West?
Kill them all, man. Hey,
Whoa, they're dead.
There's a thing called second death. But anyway, when it comes to ghosts, that's like a weird thing in and of itself, because how ghosts just become ghosts.
Are you about to say you don't believe?
No.
Oh, I thought he was.
I don't believe for shit.
Freaking
Hey,
ghosts.
This
Like,
is my show.
you will believe.
You will believe when you're on this show.
You will
No.
lie to the public, and they will believe you, and you will be happy.
Be convincing.
You are getting part of this monetization. Anyway, we will uke this bitch up.
I'll fucking pink ukulele your ass.
We will uke the
No,
fuck out of you.
Let me put this in front of you guys. So this is gonna be, I guess, a bad take on it, but so we live in a military barracks. Now let's think reasonably as human beings. How many people have taken their lives in this building?
There's probably been a couple. I mean, these buildings have been
A
up
lot.
since the 70s.
There's been
probably.
more than a couple. These buildings are
Been
older
here
than the
forever.
70s. There's been a lot.
I'm pretty
And
sure
have you
when
experienced any sorts of anything crazy? I mean, like,
You know,
there's
yes.
always somebody up
Funny
24/7,
story, yes.
though. There's always somebody up 24/7. That's a thing. So you can't, I guess, really take until it's completely dark, which will never happen. but-
It did happen.
The main deal is that how
Remember?
ghosts actually like inhabit shit is it's not so much as this is where somebody fucking died, so they're haunting the place. Nah, this is where somebody fucking lived. They could have died somewhere else, somewhere far off, but they always somehow manage to find their way back home.
Yeah, it kind of ties into the thought of home is where your heart is.
Yeah.
It's on my fucking towel,
I'm
dude.
cleaning it.
I put
Lawson,
that on
you
my
nasty
body.
I'm cleaning it. That's gross. I don't even want to touch it now.
My dick's been all up on this shit.
Now
You got dip on it.
No, it's just
you put
tobacco.
dip on his dick spot.
Tobacco fell on his towel.
Great. I'm gonna have
Why
Why
tobacco
were you
on my
why
dick.
were you just freaking taking the tobacco out on his towel?
Were you trying to smell my towel?
Oh my god.
He was sniffing it. I saw him with my own three eyes.
He wasn't.
Saw him with my third eye.
I don't know, man.
And then he put it in his mouth. I'm just kidding.
Supernatural things just kind of fucked me up. Speaking of a story, not because I'm kind of going against what I said earlier, a story about some crazy shit that happened here in this building.
Oh shit.
I'll let you do one too, because I know you have a story. When we got hit with that super typhoon that actually hit the island,
Oh, that one.
and the power went out, Funk and them went downstairs and they were fucking around with a Ouija board.
Okay.
True.
So
And I will call her out straight to her face. I know she was there. She can say she didn't partake. It doesn't matter. And if you're listening, it's your fault.
she's always listening. She's such a sweetheart. But anyway,
Anyways.
so when it comes to spiritual activity, it actually does get exponentially stronger during storms and geographical events like
So,
earthquakes and shit like that.
Back to the story real fast. It's a quick story. While the power was out, I hope the whole chair just goes back. While the power was out, we were fucking around, we're running around, we're doing whatever a bunch of drunk people do, and I had one of my lights pointed back down towards where my room's at. And this was after one of our friends had already kicked open my door. So I know it was open, but it was open and locked. You know what I'm saying? So nobody could have gotten in there because I had the key. So I shine the light down, and I'm not that far. I'm like 5 or 6 doors, maybe, from my room, and I see a person that's about chest height on me walk into my room.
Tiny.
You know, that's not that small.
What?
That's like 5 foot, dude.
That's tiny.
That's
4'11's considered
a midget.
A
Just
small
say it.
person. A small person.
Wow.
Yeah, we get it, Lawson.
My mom's 4'11.
You're short.
4'11.
My grandmother's 4'11 and 3/4, and if you ever forget that 3/4, she'll
Yeah.
fuck you up. She wouldn't. She's a very sweet lady. But anyways, I looked down there, and whatever it was, it looked like a person walking into my room. And so naturally, I was like, well, what the fuck? I ran down there because I'm like, this is my room. Why would anyone be in here? I open the door, which is closed. I swing it open, and immediately, like, I'm hit with this cold air, and I'm just like, shit, what did I just walk into? I had 2 lights at this point, and I'm like shining them everywhere, under the beds, searching everything, closets.
No, Doom. Doom.
There's like I felt like horror music playing in the background, like that, or some crazy shit. But I open closets, I look under the bed, I even open drawers, because at this point I was like, there's a fucking gnome in my room.
Dude.
I finished searching my room, and I decided, well, hey, it's not impossible that they went through our head and into the neighbor's room, which, for people who don't know, we share a bathroom, which is what we call the head.
It's that is uncommon knowledge though.
Yeah, for people who don't know. So as soon as that thought hit me, I'm like, okay, headmates.
Yep.
I run over next door.
Straight away.
They're gone too. I was by myself in those 2 rooms, which I've told you this before. They all 3 of them were on the Mew, so nobody was in those 2 rooms except me.
Yep.
And so I run into their room. I'm doing the same thing, and their room was a little more open than mine because they had their things set up a different way. I do the same thing. I search everything that can be locked. It is locked, so there's not a lot for me to search. Excuse me. I'm looking through everything without invading their, privacy and whatnot. But I just couldn't find anything. So I go back in my room, and still there's that cold, eerie feeling that just kind of is over me. And at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I'm done with tonight. I'm going to lay down. And I don't know. I think I was still married at the time. So I called my ex-wife and tried to get her to calm me down. But yeah, it was fucking wild. And this hasn't been in the last 2 years. It was terrifying.
So yeah, freaking
You can Sherlock Holmes that to like a smudge in your eye.
Was it a smudge in my eye?
So this one actually goes
Or was
into
I fucked up?
So my story actually freaking goes into almost like a sleep paralysis type of event, but I didn't get paralyzed.
So it's just sleep.
No. So first
is it just sleep or just?
Well, first it starts into a form of lucid dreaming, and then you get paralyzed. But freaking for some reason, I just got lucky, to say the least. But
So do you think that's sleep paralysis? Do you think that's whatever happened? Really
I managed to just slip away. It was it felt heavy as soon as it grabbed onto me.
Oh,
but I managed to.
That's why I wear a cross all the time. 1, because I'm, I have my beliefs, and 2, because I'm terrified of something snatching me up while I'm sleeping.
But they can't because you have the cross on you.
Hell yeah, demons.
I mean,
The power of Christ compels you, homie.
Yeah,
That's what I'll say too. You hear me say that at night, you better help me because something is happening. You say no?
Nothing's happening. It's not real.
If I start screaming the power of Christ compels you, you're not going to help me?
Anyway,
What if I'm standing on the bed in the corner, like machete or some crazy shit in my hand, just like swinging it?
This kid's insane.
That's what I do. Freaking.
Your roommate.
There's
That's why he's like the way he is.
What? Why he's like just fucking weird? Nah, man. Like, so
He's weird because he's from Louisiana.
Whoa, that's probably true.
anyway, so my story's a bit different. I actually got like a couple, but I'm just gonna share the one I have in the barracks.
I was about, please, just right now, we'll do one. We'll do a
So
whole
anyway,
podcast where we tell stories.
I'm sorry, but what happened was is that I was sleeping. I had a very just a bad time that entire week, mainly because like every night I just felt like I was being watched. I could see shit out of the corner of my eye on both sides, and I cleaned my glasses regularly so it wasn't a fucking smudge. Fuck you, law dog. Anyway, it was just the strangest thing because like one of the things. Anyway, one of the things you see before you actually see the main event type freaking entity or whatever are these smaller ones. Kind of like pilot fish on sharks. It's kind of like that. Okay. We call them scariers. Which is they just scurry around, shit like that. It's kind of like legit like fucking pilot fish.
Good name.
One time I actually caught like a whole bunch of them on my fucking bed. It was weird. It's like just watching them fucking swirl around. But anyway,
what? I spaced out for fucking 2 seconds to read something that somebody tagged me in, and
Tinder.
we're on something way different. Actually, it was Twitter. Twat.
no, this is the same story. I'm just giving an example.
Okay, I was like, what?
But anyway, so the scurriers or pilot fish entities, they came around first, and you'd see them. They kind of like remind you of like some kind of whatever it is that you would see that you think would scuttle or something like that. But
Crabs.
yeah,
Don't you have crabs?
like he got 'em from Da
It's a
Vinci.
shot, sorry.
But
oh,
anyway,
you and Da Vinci? That's cute. Are you guys Facebook official?
I don't think that.
Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me.
But
This is why.
but
Yeah,
So,
change it and send it.
this so I was
We're fucking sitting here.
So I finally went to sleep, and freaking, it may have been just how my mind works when I'm asleep because it just like, y'all know me, I'm like scatterbrained as hell,
Yes.
and that may have been something that helps me out because that's something because neurologically speaking that also freaking just affects literally even general movement. So it gave me a little bit of freedom. Plus, like I have been freaking practicing my freaking lucid dreaming anyway, just in case something like this was going to happen.
What?
Yeah, you can practice that shit.
Yeah, that's normal. That's normal stuff.
Yeah, the first thing you do is actually look at your hands. That's the hardest part. Is to remember to look at your hands.
Back to the story.
But freaking, I just
mind blown.
I'm awake-ish. I'm lucid dreaming. Every time though, the lights are always on in my room. Anytime, no matter where I am, the lights just are on when I'm asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm awake, the lights are obviously off. So I just freaking look around and I see this black fucking translucent shadow, man-sized, man-shaped, just fucking grab my right ankle. And I immediately start feeling the weight. And like I was just like, fuck that shit, just like fuck. And like I just freaking pushed my hands out because it was like a freaking jiu-jitsu match.
Yeah.
But it was like with somebody heavy.
Yeah.
And like, you're pushing, and like you freaking get up to the shrimp and then you're freaking thrusting back. And I managed to do it. And then like I freaking woke up and I was like, what the hell? And I was like, did I actually manage to fucking do that shit?
In the bricks?
In the bricks.
What?
You gotta realize too that just like not too far from Futema, actually like around the fucking perimeter.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah, not just Hacksaw Ridge, but
That's
like
not
about
far.
like 1,200 fucking Japanese local Okinawans back in World War II were fucking massacred by accident, like with like grenades and shit.
Yeah, and that's That's kind of, I don't know. It's another idea I've entertained. Do spirits learn? If they are real, do they learn as time passes?
It really
or do
depends.
they maintain their same ideals that they had when they died?
It really depends. You remember that one episode of the Midnight Gospel we watched?
You know how many? I watched the whole thing.
The one with the fish.
Okay, yeah.
So what that dude was saying
Oddly
is,
enough, that explained everything.
Yeah, that's insane.
The
So
one
he
with
was
the
talking
fish.
about-
Got it.
so he was talking about the solar consciousness and the solar body.
Mhm.
That is an actual thing, and the Chaotes are freaking practitioners of chaos magic.
That sounds not good.
They're weird. Anyway, they got a lot of stuff that makes sense, but ultimately, like just some of the organizations are just fucking weird. And what they talk about is just how the universe works in the dynamic of the spiritual, or the spirit world. So like actual space, you know how like if you're in a hotter part of outer space, like if you're out on the day side of Earth and you're in orbit, and they just up and decide to put you in the airlock without a spacesuit and then just open the door, you would explode, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of how lost souls work.
You know,
But it's like but like for earthbound spirits, something's attaching them here. Whether it's the land, where they lived, where they died, something like that. It works a bit slower as far as the overall, you know, how the magician was talking about the cosmic washing machine. That actually is kind of a thing. The personality of you is being washed away, and the individual of you, this actual, like the actual spirit body that was, you know, that divine spirit body that's in all things, that's what's left.
do you maintain your memories through this? Or is it washing you to be new and ready for a resurrection kind of thing?
Yes.
It's washing you new?
Both.
That's
like both.
we're kind of getting into the territory of something else.
But
I wanna
it's like
talk
a
about.
it's like a cross thing. Like I'm still studying it, or like I'm still trying to comprehend it. But it's roughly like that.
So before we get it too far into it, because we could really go on this for a long time, I want to kind of tone it back, because that's something I want to dedicate a whole episode to. Is we'll get into it later, but back kind of to the supernatural aspect of our lives. You know, what I don't think we really heard your answer on whether or not you thought, yes, you with the Death Note shirt, whether or not you thought there's a possibility of like a supernatural aspect.
No.
You still think no? You still? No. I mean, do you believe in aliens, or you don't believe in this?
Yeah, 100%.
Where's the
'Cause
proof
I'm
of
logical.
aliens?
I'm logical.
Well, I'm not saying I don't believe, because I 100% believe in aliens. But where's the proof of aliens?
Where's the proof of aliens?
Yeah.
All right, so when it gets dark outside, have you walked out and looked in the sky?
Yeah, I see stars.
Yeah,
And
a
then
universe,
satellites.
a universe where only one intelligent species lives. That's
No.
that's
So,
illogical.
I agree. I'm just saying there's no solid evidence. You know what I'm saying? Because if you really
Well, the
think
Pentagon
about it, how
just
much
released that video of
Hey.
a UFO.
we saw that months ago. They're behind the curve.
I'm just saying.
You know, the reason I say that, you're bringing up the vastness of the universe
Yes.
as being your proof.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. I do.
Okay.
But why can't that same thing apply to Earth? Because if you really think about it, we've explored, or we understand more about it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we understand more about the universe, space,
Yes.
than we do about our own ocean
Whoa.
and our
Yeah.
own.
I guess because there's so much that's unexplored. Yeah.
It's so easy to miss things, right?
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
why
I guess.
can't, like, that's where my main argument is with the realism of supernatural. You know what I'm saying? That's why I believe in ghosts, because there's so, I mean, nobody understands our own brains yet.
Yeah.
So how can we say that there's no chance in something like an astral projection, and there's no possibility of unlocking a higher intelligence and ability that
For
we
me-
just haven't figured it out yet?
For me, it's so we've been around for, BC, 80, whatever. There's no picture locked on, this is what it is, a ghost. Boom. It's just not a thing. It's just not there. All we have is hearsay of, oh, it gets cold. And, oh, I captured an orb on a camera that you got to think what a camera even is. Like, it's a technology we invented that's not perfected and all that. Like, you can't sit here and say ghosts are real because I felt cold, I saw this, I saw that. Like, anybody can do that. Like, what if we listen to every victim of schizophrenia? Then what? We're believing in everything that they say and do.
No, that's not all I'm saying. But obviously some of these pictures are very fake.
Yeah,
It's
all of
easy
them.
to tell.
All of them.
Wait, can you say all of them though?
Yeah, it has a red circle on it.
Not that one. Jeez. That looks like he's faking it. I'm talking like this. It's vague, but you can see something
See
there.
what?
What the hell is that?
I don't know.
That's
a bad
a cardboard
example.
box at the top of a stairwell. That's what that is. I figured it out.
All right,
Got-
Sherlock.
gotcha.
Give me a second. What I'm saying,
I have deduced the evidence.
what I'm saying is.
Oh, look at this window.
Which one? This
That
one.
one. Yeah. Look at
What do
this
we got
window.
here? I don't see anything.
Someone's peeking out the window, apparently. That's
But it's
so
the same idea. Because look, I can
Yeah.
do this. Real ghost picture. That's what I searched.
Yeah.
And then.
real ghost orbs, all this. I've
What makes this any more real?
no, I'm not saying this is real.
Okay,
I'm
but
saying
that's-
aliens are real. I'm not saying
Wait.
this specific
Yeah, and I agree.
picture and stuff of UFOs is real. No, I'm not saying that.
But the evidence in my mind, it transfers because
there's-
the pictures we have, you can't 100%.
Now, I can't remember the incident or the event or whatever, but there's
Talk about in Arizona.
with the lights.
Yeah.
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 How many people saw that?
Thousands.
Well,
But how
not
many people
thousands,
saw
but a
the
lot.
How many people? Hundreds is what I should have said.
How many people saw what?
How many people saw the floating bodies at Gettysburg? There's multiple videos.
I grew up 25 minutes from Gettysburg.
Yeah,
A great
I'm not
friend
saying
of mine was a ghost tour guide.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shane. And we used to go on these guides because his mom was a tour guide, so we used to go on them for free.
What about the Battle of Los Angeles?
Absolutely, that's a movie.
it's
Absolutely saw nothing ever,
So
Y'all,
that's where I'm not. Trying
and that's
to
the
interrupt you too
most
much,
like
but-
haunted place in America.
Well,
Like, it's a
where do you
huge
think
battle.
it gets into? You obviously don't believe, right?
Yeah, facts.
Do you think it gets into the energy and like this kind of gets into the vibe you give out, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that since you don't believe, the kind of energy you put out is different than somebody that does? So if I went to the same place, do you think that maybe I would experience it?
Well, when I went to that place, I was a believer.
You were?
Yeah.
You think it may have just been a bad day for the ghosts?
I mean,
They were just having a. We can hear him.
We
shouting
did
in
it
the
every
back.
other weekend, so It wasn't.
Maybe they just had a series of bad days.
They
I'm not saying they're real. I'm saying I
Yeah,
believe,
I see
and
what you're
that's
saying.
that's my point of view. But I don't know. It's just fucking like the thought of it is crazy. This is the most ridiculous shit I've ever
been
seen in my
to,
life. Look at that.
That
is obviously
that's so
fake.
fake. Like for me, the most if there was ever a point or time and place, everything. I was 22, 23. I went to Penthurst in Pennsylvania. It was
insane asylum?
Insane asylum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an abandoned insane asylum. Now that's
before it was abandoned, by the way.
what, no. That was good. That was good. No, I wasn't in Penthurst.
You would
but-
have to be fucking pretty old.
Yeah. That's X-Files, you know, like there's old people and young bodies all the time.
Good go.
But anyway, that's a creepy place. Yes, was I scared? 100%. Did I believe? No, not at all. Did everybody I was with believe? Yes. Did I experience Did I experience anything I thought was out of the norm? Yes, but if you logically deduced it and think about it, not really.
So you think this kind of gets into? You think your mind's overthinking it?
Oh,
Like
yeah,
you're trying to come
100%.
up with a logical reason
100%.
instead of accepting that.
100%.
Maybe it was just a fucking spirit.
No.
Maybe he was just
no.
trying to give you a little tickle.
How old is that building?
I don't know.
You never been into an old house that creaks?
Well, yeah, I have.
Yeah, it happens all the time. But this one time I'm in this building, it's not a creek, and this building's 30, 40 years old, 50 years old.
It's also
I'm in
a
this building.
concrete building that
And-
doesn't creak.
Well, old
There-
things,
there's
old
definite
things make
cracks.
noise.
Yeah, and no, I agree. I'm just saying, like, it's not, for me, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that, something was there. There's not 100% proof. Along with, if you believe in, we were talking about earlier, fairies and sprites, there's no literal proof of that, really.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be. You made a face like there might be. I don't know.
So, obviously the Finnish, they believe in it, but
Yeah.
like
It took me a second to
for-
catch on to what I was like, the finish. Like the finish line?
so
The finish.
yeah, the
people.
like just a lot of the Scandinavian countries will actually they will their government, they will freaking make buildings and shit, people will commission buildings, to be built and stuff like that. But for some reason, even in Okinawa, they will refer to the shamans or the druids, and they will consult the fairies or
The
the elves.
spiritual people.
Yeah. Sorry, dip.
I had to do it louder. Right. Oh, fucking you.
Oh,
puss
God.
Motherfucker.
Please
This
don't
is a good kneecaps motherfuckers with this pink ukulele.
That's my smashing uke. Anyway.
Anyways.
So they will actually consult those things. Some things I haven't seen, some things I have. My little brother actually commented about seeing this weird thing out in the snow. And even though I've seen some shit, I'm still going to be a little skeptical about a lot of things, because some of you guys probably already know my standing with or my standpoint on new age freaking spiritualism, that type of I look down on
You can
it.
hear him in the back, yeah.
I look down on a lot of it, because a lot of it just seems like they're too drunk on their own mysticism, and a lot of it just turns out to be a crock of shit. But it really a lot of it still comes from seeing is believing, especially when it comes to spiritual entities or even extra dimensional entities. Especially with some of the shit that you'll see, could have been it could have been a wood nymph, for all I knew. I wasn't there when he saw it. My little brother saw it, and my old man commented that he had seen some stuff like that happen in fields where the dead leaves were, and they would just these things would move, and the wind would pick up with them, even though there was no wind to actually move anything around. So, yeah.
Crop circles.
Them damn crop circles.
We also had a freaking theory about that was just freaking aliens talking shit to each other. It's like tagging. You
It
know?
probably is. Those
Yeah.
motherfuckers are using Earth as like the ghetto.
That's for another podcast.
Yeah, it's kind of
fair.
like
That's a
tagging,
lot.
like
That's a lot.
or like street art. Some
a
of it's
lot to
actually
say about
really nice looking.
All right. You're
But,
Belo's
yeah.
right. That is for another time. You know, I spent a lot of time, out in the wilderness. The wilderness must be explored. Isn't that what that kid says?
Yes,
What kid?
with like a W. It was from
The
Up.
wilderness must be explored. Something like that. No, but as a kid, I spent a lot of time outdoors. I tried to because of the situation I was with home.
Had to survive.
I had to survive out there in the
Abandoned in the wilderness. Use a Spartan.
naked and afraid.
I think I was talking to you about like a freaking dream that I had, and I asked my old man, "It's like, you ever actually considered throwing us out in the woods for however long?" He was like, "Yeah."
Yep. No, but there's been times where it's always like a double take kind of situation. I'll be out there hunting, fishing, whatever I'm doing. Something will rustle the leaves, and I'll look, and I'll see something that I can't really explain.
The wind.
Look away, and it's not always the wind though. That's where it used to get me, and that's where I'm open to the possibility of whatever the fuck. I'm not saying I believe in them because I don't, but I'm open to the possibility of it. Like, shit, if you could prove it to me, I'm more than happy to believe it.
I mean, there are like nature spirits out there. I believe in it, so I'm just gonna wind up saying, yeah, there are these, there are that, whatever. But like all my brothers, my old man, we've all seen it. It's like whenever we were living out.
I done saint it.
It's the weirdest freaking thing ever. It looked like the Ents from Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
It was like a smaller version of that, but it was built like a fucking gorilla. And like, we called it Treebeard, 10-foot tall man, because it was literally 10 feet tall and it walked like a fucking gorilla. Just
That's
like
crazy.
lumbered like that, like a huge fucking ape. And it always just lingered in the same like place,
Area.
or like the same direction. Like that's where we'd see it. And you felt like you were being watched all the time. Turns out there was like more than just one entity. More than just the freaking nature spirit that was out there. There were.
Do you think that the want to believe in these things plays an effect in the reality of them?
Yeah.
We have a good friend, Christopher. You know who I'm talking about?
It's a construct of time.
Yeah. That is a silly notion to a lot of us, but when you really think about it, what's to keep... So obviously, like I said before, we don't understand the entire human brain, right?
Right.
What's to keep us from believing that the human brain is powerful enough, and we don't realize it, to solidify these beliefs in nature spirits or ghosts or whatever else?
The actual lack of belief in it, or even the lack of actual knowledge in it. Some people are just... So, like, what I call it is the veil of disbelief. This veil actually protects you, or at least walls you off from a lot of the psionic as well as the spiritual freaking aspects of the universe around you.
Ugh,
You
excuse
see
me.
things as they are. You just see the material universe, but nothing of the actual, nothing of the
Spiritual side of life.
spiritual side of things affect you as much as it, just mundanely.
You're
So you
giving
don't
off
really-
bad vibes, man. That's what's going on.
So like you just don't see it simply because you don't believe it.
What are you
And
counting?
Hours.
But
How much time you got to sleep? All right. My bad. Okay.
oops.
Last thing, and we're not going to dive super far into it, but I do want to bring it up. Your body produces... What's the drug? Your body... DMT?
Yeah, dimethyltryptamine.
Yeah. Your body naturally produces that, and it's a natural psychoactive drug, right?
Yeah.
What keeps DMT in a specific part of the body? What's to keep it from not making it to your brain and causing these psychoactive episodes where you see things
I think it's
that are
like,
a little fucking different?
I think it stays in the brain, but like usually people now like whenever people actually access their natural reserve or source of DMT, whenever the brain actually produces it, is usually when they die or when they're about to die.
We're going to have to dive into that in another episode because I really want to talk about the reality of life in another place. What's on the subject of psychoactive drugs, without getting too far into it and saving it for another time, do you think that when people partake in these substances, whether it be LSD or mushrooms or whatever the fuck, DMT or whatever it is, or peyote, do you think that the idea of tripping is instead your brain opening its capacity and seeing the supernatural or another dimension or something like that?
So like a lot of that freaking
Don't look at me like that.
the cognizance of the freaking thing, you know, you actually being aware of all that. I think like what a lot of those I think a lot of what hallucinogenic drugs do is not so much as put you in there, but make you actually see that it's all around you.
Yeah,
you're seeing
it just opens your mind to,
like,
the reality.
Tapping into different dimensions like that, or even different parts of, you know, the spirit world, or even, you know, different aspects of the dimension here, is like tuning into a radio. It's just changing your tuning to perceive the energies that are already there.
And it's an art, because if you've ever had one of the old radios, and I'm not trying to cut into you because I want to hear what you say.
Yeah.
If you've ever had an old radio and you're trying to tune it right, that knob is kind of touchy. You go a little too far to the left, you're not gonna hear the station. A little too far to the right, it's not gonna sound right, and so on and so forth. So those tuning knobs are pretty fine. There's a fine hair. Do you think that's where, like, when you take those psychoactive drugs, your mind isn't on the left or right side of that dial? It's where it's supposed to be to perceive the entire reality in its fullest.
No,
Kinda.
so
I mean, mostly. That's just me being overly specific.
Yeah.
Just mainly because, like, no matter who you are, you're gonna be a few decibels either above or below somebody, but you can change the amount of decibels that you can perceive and shit like that. You know, just if you're gonna be compared to like a radio with your frequency and amplitude modulation.
Nice.
And that's basically it. You pretty much nailed it
Yeah.
as far as that goes.
What were you gonna say?
So at the end of the day, it's called an hallucinant drug. It
Hallucinogenic. Psychoactive.
Drug.
Yeah.
It's a drug at the end of the day. And what is the purpose of a drug? To get you high.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially, like, recreationally, that's what a drug is, and that's what it's there for, to get you high. And the conception of, oh, you're tripping balls, you see this, you see that, it's just that. It's just a conception of what it is, and it gets you high, but on a different level. And where people think of in the terms of, oh, you gotta be, like, in the right state, is true. You have to be in a good atmosphere, and not mostly the atmosphere. It's 90% you. So if you're depressed or feeling some type of way, you're not gonna want to partake in a hallucinogen drug, because it's not going to go well. And it's kind of like getting, we've all experienced the, like, sober person that's shy and stuff, but when he gets drunk, he tells you he fucking hates you, or his true feelings actually come out. Like, that's kind of like a hallucinating drug. Like,
don't know anybody like that.
Your true self is gonna come out. And if you're not feeling the right type of way, then you shouldn't partake.
Are you so? Not to interrupt you, but are you leaning more towards like agreeing with what I'm saying? Like you're tuning into a different reality?
No, not at all.
I just wanted to make sure.
Not at all.
You think it's just?
It's an altered state of mind. Not and altered even sounds like to another level. Like, it's just another state of mind, and it's just a different drug. It makes you feel a certain way. That's it. Like, the whole hallucinogen part is not even there.
What?
It's not there. Like, a friend has told me, has experienced in this, has, done the most of the hallucinogen drugs. And as for seeing stuff, it's not as much as in, poof, there's a dragon, or holy crap, this plant turned into a snail. No, it's like, you think it sways a certain way that it didn't sway. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, that's a... Yeah, I know what you're saying. Obviously, I know what you're talking about.
It's not...
I have a friend that also has partaken in
you don't see it
drugs
that way. And the way it actually is. But that's just... it doesn't touch anything. But then again, it goes to ayahuasca, which is what DMT is extracted from ayahuasca. And ayahuasca opens up your pineal gland in your brain. Now, that only opens up when you're born and when you die.
Yeah.
Or when you take ayahuasca. So that is something my friend has never experienced before. But, that means something to me. And I'd have to experience it myself to fully say something about it. But as for the other minuscule, more shrooms, LSD, and peyote, mescaline, which is like DMT's the extract of ayahuasca. Mescaline is the extract of peyote. And it's not necessarily an it's classified as hallucinogen, but it's not like you see fucking aliens running around and crazy stuff like that.
How wild
it's just a different state of mind.
Yeah. Man, it's a crazy thing to think about. It's a cool thing to think about. It's cool to think that there's chemicals and there's compounds out there that can fuck you up.
Yeah, for
we heard a story the other day.
Periods of time too, like 12 to 24 hours.
Yeah, we were talking to somebody the other day that... What was that? Oh, no, it was... I was listening to something, I think, and this guy had a sign. I don't know the full story. I don't remember it. But the idea was this guy gave this couple as a wedding gift a bunch of acid. And the husband and wife both took it. Excuse me. The wife ended up going crazy. Like, institutionalized forever. She's still there.
That's how some people take it. And that mostly when that occurs, it's due to dosage.
It's been a hell of a wedding reception.
Jesus Christ.
But at the same time, it kind of goes with
consummation was amazing.
They
were on a different planet.
The state of mind. Like, so she wasn't mentally ready to handle that type of drug is more what it sounds like. And then it goes to, that kind of leads you on to the, because there's always a rule of thumb with it where you wait 3 days minimum. It's preferably a week before you back-to-back same 2 days in a row partake in the same drug.
Yeah.
And that's real as fuck because it doesn't work. It's kind of like your body builds up a quick tolerance and you have to kind of like multiply to triple the dosage to never get the same feeling, but you can get
Which could
to
potentially be extremely dangerous.
well, you can get to that other level, but it's not going to be as nice as it was before when you
Yeah.
should have just waited 2 weeks. But if you don't, you wait, or you do it 2 days and triple the dose and get close to the experience and have a great time and stuff, it's going to put tolls on your brain even worse than the one time you do it, the once a month experience you enjoy. If you want
this is
to
kinda-
change it, it really puts a toll on your mind that
Yeah,
you can
for sure.
mentally feel.
Both of our friends know this.
Yeah,
It can definitely start to take its toll in a negative way.
yeah,
And your body can only take so much abuse like that mentally.
yeah.
Because you look at people that go through physical abuse that ends up affecting them mentally, and it fucks them up. Like, they form certain problems mentally that stem from this other thing. This is getting pretty serious, and I'd like to really dive into it another time when we talk about something else.
Okay.
Because there's so many religions and so many stories where they didn't necessarily use a hallucinogenic drug. They just entered an altered mind. And you may know more about this with, I believe, like Tibetan monks entering a state of altered consciousness through meditation. And I'd love to hear it, but we're going to save it because we're running a little short on time. It's just closing up. Things, I think that people should stop looking at things so literally. Things can be a lot of different things, and I think things are purely based on an individual's perception, and that ties into so many things when it comes to, like, accepting other individuals, especially. But it's a wild ride, man. This life thing that we got going, wild time. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm going to kick it to Just West. What's your closing statements, if you will?
So there's nothing wrong with looking at things at face value, but definitely try to think critically so that you can actually see what else is going on, what else can make this whole thing up, rather than just taking it for what you see it is.
Yeah. This is, it sounds like all three of us may be more on the hippie side, but if anybody knows us, I know that myself personally, if you know me, then you know what kind of person I am, and it's not that. But I also agree with yes, it's fine to take things at face value. Like, that's a fan. It's sitting there. I'm looking at it. It's a fan. But every once in a while, when you look at something, it's okay to look at it critically and be like, well, maybe it's a little bit more than a fan.
Yeah.
B-Law, what do you got?
Nefarious ideals.
I'm the type of person where I have to see it to believe it or experience it to get the first-hand take on it. I'm not going to take your first expressions or the public's view on something. I'm going to take my view and my perspective on what it is.
Yeah. Like I said, man, crazy life that we have going here. It's a cool life. A lot of cool things come out of it, like this pink ukulele that I found today.
True.
Bitchin'.
True.
Customize it, make it my own. But,
Just gets an acoustic amp thing.
put an acoustic amp and sitting out in the hallway with an Aztec death whistle and a pink ukulele.
Make a nice theme song for it.
Hey. I don't know. We're going to... It's Benton throat singing in the background.
Tibetan throat singing. I love it.
We're going to cut it. Thank you guys again for being here. We're going to keep doing it for as long as I have left out here. Think about it. Think about life every once in a while. Stop and see what's going on. Live life. Don't be a Paducey. You know what I'm saying? Steal things from the hallway. Eat some pizza. Get high. I don't know. Do what you want. I'm not your dad. I don't care.
Yeah, we're not your botanists.
We're not your botanists, you fuck. That's going to wrap it up. We'll see you guys next week on the Average Joe's Coffee Show. Thank you for tuning in.